All right, this video tutorial is in regards to creating a new customer or editing any current customers. On the left-hand side, you're going to find the retail back office. You want to select this by double-clicking on it. If you're at head office, it'll prompt you for location. Otherwise, what you'll find on site is it'll just default to your username and ID, which is exactly what we're going to enter next. There we go. In the back office, across the top bar, we're looking for a customer, and the first one on our list is enter and modify customer. So even when creating a new customer, you want to open this little icon right here, showing you all of our existing customers, just in order to ensure we have no duplicates. Now, as we can see, as we can scroll down, this database is still fairly new, and already we're starting to compile duplicate entries, such as names. Now, it turns out these two people are actually different. However, that'd be easier to recognize if a last name was actually used, which is why I mentioned this. If you're going to enter somebody into the system, obviously you have them there with you there at that moment in time. Get as much information as you possibly can from them, and that way we don't have to do it again further down the road. For now, I'm going to hit exit, and since we did not select a customer, it's going to say, you know, this must be a new customer. So we're going to enter in John Smith. So Smith, John. Now, the grouping is in regards to grouping two customers together. Currently, it's not a function that's in use, but it is something that will come into play a little bit further down the road. For now, we'll hit exit. Customer type, however, is currently active. Right now, it gives you two options, head office and suppliers. We're going to say John currently works for head office and select head office. If the customer type does not apply, there is no need to select it. But there is, so head office it is. We're going to start with the mailing address. Burnaby Works, Canada Works, and postcode. Primary contact is going to be John, and his phone number. Now, the long distance fax checkmark here is simply queues a prompt within the system if it's going to be sending anything via long distance. This is not really applicable for you, so it's something that you can just skip. Email address, however, is very much applicable, and we'll enter in our info at email for the company right there. Next tab you'll find is enter ship to address. The enter ship to address is to bypass the information you've placed here above. Now, if the location where all merchandise and all products are going to be shipped to differs from their personal shipping information, this is the box you would select, and it would default to the information provided on the final tab here on the right-hand side. Also on this tab, you'll find preferences. You'll notice there's 1 through 10, and if you select them, they are all blank. Now, preferences is an option that has yet to be programmed for our point-of-sale terminals, and it's simply a feature that allows us to kind of customize things for our clientele. For example, we could set up preference 1 to be sweetness codes. Therefore, for each customer, we could put in their preferred sweetnesses. For somebody who prefers higher sweetnesses, like say a level 2, under number 1 here, what we do is we select sweetness code number 2, and that way any person helping this customer further down the road when trying to suggest items of interest would look at the preference and go, this person prefers sweeter wines, perhaps a Gewürztraminer would be the best thing in mind for this customer. So we're going to move along to the second tab here, pricing tax award. Now, the group pricing simply refers to what should be the default pricing. Now, just in case yours hasn't defaulted to your price tier, Burnaby's price tier is price 3, and West Vancouver's price tier is price 2. You'll also notice 3 additional price tiers at the base here. It's called number 6 is suppliers, 7 is intercompany, and 8 is head office. Whether it be supplier, intercompany, or head office, all 3 options must be approved by management as they apply to secondary pricing. For John Smith here, head office is our pricing tier, in which we'll just select that now. The next one is price equals and landed cost plus. This is a calculation where it allows us to add on a certain percentage to the person's purchases. This is not currently in play because by setting their pricing tier here, this field is a moot point. Now, the sales rep is simply whoever enters in this information. That'd be you. So if you're the one who's going to be helping them the majority of the time, this would also be you. However, to get started, whoever enters in the initial information, this is the name you'll find above here. And if there's any questions, this is a person who you can refer to. Underneath, we have tender type allowed. You may select all tender types available if it is an approved account. The difference being that this will allow the person to pay via check and on account, which of course is not standard for most customers. Otherwise, if this is your standard walk-in customer, you're going to select all of your standard methods of payment being cash, debit, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. On the right-hand side, we're going to see two columns for HST exempt with an exclamation and the HST exempt without an exclamation. The difference between the two fields is really just in programming. Ultimately, they mean the same thing, is that you're tax exempt, and unfortunately, no one is tax exempt. Third tab here we'll see is credit terms and status. Top one is a discount percentage. This is something that is done on rare occasions if it's not already been established through our group price tiering. Flip back here, and term is always COD. Net number of days, as you'll get through, is actually defaulted through system parameters. Right now, as we're in head office, it's not prompting us with the correct 30-day billing cycle. Credit limit, though. Credit limit is something that if it's applicable, for example, the person's going to pay on account and we're going to do monthly billing with them, you're going to need to attribute a credit limit to them. Now, this is something that is set by the store manager and it's monitored weekly. However, if you do need assistance with this, we ask that you ask your manager. Base currency, also something that we are working on having as a default setting. Obviously, ours will be Canadian, so we'll select it now. The person is an active customer. Will we be printing statements? Yes. However, it also provides you the options for email or no. We're just going to default right now to no. Printout sending balance is an additional option. We're going to bypass that for now. Charge interest on an overdue invoice. This applies to all wholesale purchases. Ultimately, we have a 30-day window in which people can pay all outstanding amounts, and anything beyond that incurs a 2% interest fee. AR account number is something you can skip, and expiry date is not applicable as well. Notes. Notes is for basically all miscellaneous things that you think might be pertinent information for this person or for this company. Who you should talk to, when you should call, numbers of preference to call, any suggestions you have in handling this client, and any suggestions you have in regards to delivery, preferences as far as time of day. Like I mentioned before, for contact, it can be just about anything, but this is really helpful as far as customizing our service for that customer in question. Contact. In the contact things, we have the contact person, the title, email address, and so forth. So we're going to select contact person. As we know, it is John Smith. Their title for this things will be operations, and their information before was email at cagegroup.ca, and the phone number is 604-872-5293. Now, this is something that we're currently discussing with Profitect in regards to clarifying if any of the information from the mailing preferences can be defaulted over, but unfortunately for the time being, what you'll find is you manually have to enter this information. Phone extension, cell phone, and pager. Gives you a little bit of an idea of how old this database is, but nonetheless, all the fields are there that you could possibly need, and mailing label. Might as well check it off. There's no harm there. Final field we have here is shipping. Once again, as I mentioned in mailing preferences, if the shipping information is going to differ from the person's personal mailing information, this is where you'd fill it out. This is basically all you need to do to create an employee. Once you're done, just hit add, and they're now in the system. And that wraps up the tutorial on creating a customer.